Okay, so how do we do breakout rooms? Well, if you go down to the bottom, you'll see where it says breakout rooms with the four little boxes. Bear in mind, you have to be host to use breakout rooms. So polls are something that a co-pilot or co-host can do, as well as a host, but only the host can do breakout rooms. So if you're working in pairs, just bear that in mind. So go down to the bottom where it says breakout rooms, and you can either automatically do the breakout rooms or do them manually. My preference is to do it automatic, so it generates yourself once you click that big blue button in a moment. And then if I want certain people in the rooms, then I can just move them about. It's a lot less time consuming than doing it manually. So what we need to bear in mind is how you have to decide whether you want to focus on how many rooms you want or how many participants you want per room. So we're going to start off with 2 rooms. So there's going to be 1 participant in each room. I click create breakout rooms. Now the rooms have been created, but the people are not in them yet because the rooms are not opened. So the rooms exist, but I've not opened them for people to go into. So I can rename the room if I want to. So if, for example, if you're doing certain tasks, you might want to have certain names there. So if you're allocating certain tasks with like A or B, you can basically rename the room there so that people know exactly what task they're supposed to be doing. You can also delete the room, you can exchange people, you can move them about. So I could move that person to room 2 and I could move that person to room 1 if I wanted to. So that's a good way of merging the rooms as well. So for example, I've opened 2 rooms there, but actually if I want to make it 1 room, I can move that person to room 1. That works really well if you want to do, for example, a snowballing task. So you want learners to start or do a think pair share. So you want people to start in pairs. So you have maybe 10 rooms open, and then you want to put the pairs together in a 4. So you want to merge the rooms together from 2 rooms to 1. And you can do that quite easily by as I just showed you then, just moving people manually into a different room. So like I said, these rooms are, they've been created, but they're not open yet. So I want to show you a few more things before we click the big blue button and ask people to leave. So we can click options here. And there's a few different options here. You can ask people to just get moved into breakout rooms automatically, which can be quite scary for people, but you just need to basically give them the heads up. I'm going to click the button and you're going to be sent to a room. Don't worry, trust me. Once you're in there, you can always call me back, that kind of thing. Just to, let people know that. Moving them automatically is, I would suggest that, but you have to give them that heads up first, so they're not scared and not worried that they've just been moved into a room and that they don't know how to get back, kind of thing. Just give them that little heads up. The reason why I say it's good to do it automatically is because if you don't, then a little thing will pop up and ask them to join the room. If for whatever reason they're not there to actually click the button, or if they minimize it by accident, they can get stuck in the main room. So it's quite good if you just move them automatically, if you feel comfortable doing that. Okay, next one is whether you can allow participants to return to the main session at any time. They can either return whenever they want, or well, they can do both these things. They can return whenever they want, return to the main session if you click that button, but they can always call you back in. So that's always an option, that they can call you if they need you. So let them know that too. Another one that is actually, I really like doing this in tasks, is automatically closing the room when a certain time is up. So if you want to give them a task to do and you want to give them 5 minutes so that they stay really focused, pop 5 minutes in there. And the cool thing is that actually once you've written 5 minutes in there and it sends them into a room, there's a little timer. So when they're doing group work, for example, they can see that timer and they know how long they've got before they're going to get brought back in. It's quite hard when you are a participant in a room like that, if you've been told you've got a few minutes to discuss, then you go into the room and then after a few minutes you're just brought back in halfway through a sentence, and you might, if you're the quieter person, you might not have actually been able to say anything yet because you didn't have that time telling you that time was nearly up. So after that 5 minutes is up though, you can then allow a little countdown after closing the breakout room. So you can change that to however long you want it to be. So if after 5 minutes you want them to just have 10 seconds and then be brought back, then they can, or they could be a minute. I think a minute is quite nice. Some people will come back straight away after the 5 minutes. Some people will use that entire 60 seconds. It's always good if they do use that entire 60 seconds, because it means that whatever task you set them has really been has really kind of like set a fire in them, and they're carrying on going. Okay, good to have this ticked as well. Notify me when the time is up, because when the time is up, you've then got to click the button that closes the breakout rooms, because you can decide if you want to keep the rooms open or you can close them. So there's a few little options there. You can also click to recreate the rooms at any point. So once you've opened these rooms and you've sent them into a breakout room and then you've brought them back again, these rooms are going to stay like this until you close this meeting. So you could recreate the rooms and move them all about. Or if you want them, if it's a class that already know each other, I would recommend, moving them all about. But if it's a training session with practitioners that don't necessarily know each other, it's actually quite good to keep them in the same group so that they're working with the same people all the time, especially if they don't know each other, so that they don't have to do the introductions every single time they move together into a new group. So once you've got your rooms ready, I've got one breakout room with 2 people, and I have, I'm not moving them in automatically. I'm going to click open all rooms. Okay, as I can see that all participants have been invited to join breakout rooms. There we go. And as you can see, one person has moved, but another person, I'm seeing double now, another person has not moved. And because they've got their camera switched off, I don't know why they've not moved. It could be because they've had a rest break, or they've gone to get a cup of tea, or for any reason. But that's just something to bear in mind, okay? I hope that was helpful with breakout rooms. There's loads of things you can do with them, like I said, merging the rooms and things like that. So have a little play. The best way I would say to do it is by having a play with other people. Right now I'm playing with my other devices to do this, but it's really good to play with other people so that they can experience it first before you start doing it with colleagues and learners. Invite your friends, maybe just in the evening, invite all your friends over to a Zoom room and have a little play with breakout rooms just to see how they work so that you feel comfortable with them. When I first started doing breakout rooms, I felt a bit anxious about it because I was a little bit scared. I was a bit worried how they would experience it as well. But once I experienced being in a breakout room, I kind of knew to have that little discussion at the beginning before I took people in. I wouldn't just say, right, we're going to a breakout room now, and then click the button, because that can be quite, very anxious, and you just think, oh, what was even the task? Check they know the task first, even if that means you're asking them to get their camera and take a picture of the slide or whatever it is. Make sure that they've done that. And if they're in a group of 4, for example, there'll always be one person that has actually taken the photo. So yeah, have a little play with the breakout rooms, and I would fully recommend you playing with the breakout rooms with friends and family and things like that first, just so that you feel comfortable. Okay, so my activity is ended, or it's nearing the end, and I want to bring everyone back into the main room for feedback. So how can I do that? Because they've all just gone away in the room and I'm here on my own, and it can be a little bit scary, I know that, but do not worry, okay? They are there and they are getting on with their work, all right? So what you need to do is, or what I would suggest is a really good idea, is just letting them know. How can you do that when you're here on your own? Well, if you click this button down here where it says broadcast a message to all, you can type a message, and that message could be assign somebody to come back to the room in a minute and feedback everything that your group has been talking about. Another could be we're nearly finished, you've got 2 more minutes left. It's always good to let people know those things. Imagine if you're in a face-to-face session, they're the kind of things that you'd be saying anyway. You'd be saying, guys, we've just got a few more minutes left. that kind of thing. I would even suggest that before you put people into a room, you actually let them know that one of the things they might want to do when they get into a room is to choose someone who's going to be a speaker for the group to summarize all their points. If you tell them that before they go into the room, then they know that is an expectation when they come back to the main room. All right, so you write a message and you broadcast it there. And then if you want to close the rooms, you can click the close button there. If you need to, for any reason, move people to rooms, you can click this move button and you can move people between different rooms. Okay, and now Vicky's in breakout room 2. Fantastic. So I'm going to close all the rooms, and as you see here, it's given them that 60 seconds that we gave them. They had between 10 seconds to 2 minutes. That was the options that we could pick, and I picked 60 seconds. So they've got 60 seconds to come back into the room, and they can choose to keep on talking or come back straight away. I've got a little message here saying that the host has asked me to come back to the room, and the room will close in 37 seconds. So these people are choosing to come back in. There we go, fantastic. And they're back in the room. And as you can see, they are back in. Okay. All right, so what we could do though, if you think about activities like think, pair, share or snowballing, so groups that are getting bigger or groups that are getting smaller, you can use breakout rooms to help you achieve that. So you could do that by moving people into different rooms and creating more rooms. So I could add another room there and another room and another room and separate more people out or bring them back again. The good thing about this breakout room list is that now it's generated. So I could be moving people about in the middle of a session and then open the rooms up again. It won't be like this list won't be ready for you after the session, but it's just in this session. You can, however, assign breakout rooms through the back end. So if you want to go onto your Zoom account on a browser, you can assign rooms before a session. But I think it's quite nice and simple and easy to do it automatically this way. And then you can do things off the cuff if you want to. I think learners and practitioners really appreciate the time actually from our feedback that we've had, and we've heard from learners and from practitioners alike. They really appreciate the time in breakout rooms. The time away from a trainer and the time away to reflect and think and speak with other learners as well. So have a little play with breakout rooms.